How to lay large floor tiles. Difficulty level 2 hammers. Laying large floor tiles is a little more challenging as the floor needs to be perfectly level. However, the extra effort required to install them is more than worthwhile when you see the end results. Choose your floor tiles: an adhesive primer, enhanced adhesive mortar, floor and wall tile grout, some alkaline solution, and cement residue remover. You will need a 2-meter long mason's rule, a pencil, a lamb's wool roller, tape measure, a mason's set square, a spirit level, a scraper, a trowel, a bucket, an electric drill with a mixer attachment, a tray, a notched comb trowel, pair of suction pads, a rubber mallet, a tiler's float, tile spacers, an electric tile cutter, a soft pencil, a tile marker, an angle grinder equipped with a diamond cutting disc, a pair of parrot beak tile nippers, a rubber trowel, a sponge, some cloths, a vacuum cleaner, and a floor mop. Make sure you wear safety goggles, protective gloves, and knee pads. The floor surface must be clean, solid, dry, and above all, level. Smooth away any rough patches and then vacuum thoroughly. Wash and degrease with an alkaline solution such as St. Mark or a special cement screed cleaner. Using the 2-meter long mason's rule, check for any possible deviations in the floor surface. The maximum tolerance is around 1.5 millimeters under the rule. Beyond that, you will need to abrade and level the floor. Apply a primer. Pour a few drops of water onto the ground and note how long it takes for them to be absorbed. If the drops disappear in under a minute, the floor is extremely porous. Choose an appropriate adhesive primer as a result. Apply the product using a roller and allow it to dry according to the manufacturer's instructions. You can lay large floor tiles of up to 60 by 60 centimeters, an area of 3,600 square centimeters, on a surface with underfloor hot water or reversible heating, but you should switch it off at least 48 hours before laying the tiles. Use your suction pads. You must be careful moving large tiles of 60 by 60 centimeters and above. Carry them by attaching a suction pad to each side of the tile surface. For a single or double suction pad, the principle is identical. Place the tool on the surface of the tile, which must be completely dry, and then lift the handles in order to create the suction. To release, just lower the handle. Draw your guidelines. To achieve the best visual effect when entering your room and to distribute any cut tiles around the edges, draw a line at right angles to the center of the doorway and extend it to the wall opposite. Place your first tile in the center. Lay a row of whole tiles complete with spaces in the joints, without adhesive. Wait until the tile is exactly in place before releasing the suction pad. Using the metal rule, check the tiles are perfectly aligned and mark the end of the last whole tile before reaching the wall. Draw another line at right angles to the first line, which will be where you start laying the tiles. You should mix up the pack of tiles to blend in any possible variations in shades and size. In order to compensate for the small amount of sealant used when working with large format tiles and to cater for any small variations in size, choose a deformable adhesive mortar of the C2S1 or S2 type. Preparing the adhesive. Prepare the adhesive mortar by mixing the powder and water according to the manufacturer's instructions. Applying the adhesive. Place a mason's rule along the edge of the installation guideline for a first row of complete tiles up to the edge of the room. Use a heavy weight, such as some floor tiles, to hold the rule in place on the ground. Draw an outline of the first tile and spread adhesive mortar on the ground. Then comb an area equivalent to 2 tiles with the half-moon notch trowel. For large format tiles in excess of 900 square centimeters, You should also apply adhesive to the back of the tile. Lay the tile on the ground, attach the 2 suction pads, and immediately lift the tile. With a stainless steel trowel, spread a thin, smooth layer of adhesive. The first tile. Align your first tile against the rule. Gently press the tile down onto the adhesive layer on the ground to ensure a flat initial contact. Once the tile has made contact, secure the tile in place by tapping it with a rubber mallet and a block of wood across the entire surface. Once the tile is correctly in place, remove the suction pads and check the tile is level, adjusting it if necessary. It is easier to lay the tiles in pairs, especially if you're working with very large tiles measuring 60 by 120 centimeters. Continue laying the first row. Lay the second tile in exactly the same way, leaving a small gap in between for the tile spaces. Place 2 spaces in the joint loosely, as you will remove them later. Complete laying the first row of tiles along the edge of the mason's rule. Remove the rule and wipe it clean with a sponge. Make sure you remove any trace of adhesive on the tiles immediately. Check the entire row is level using the mason's rule. The next rows. Once you have completed the first row, the job becomes easier and you can apply adhesive over a larger area now that you have mastered the technique. At this stage, the first row of tiles acts as an alignment reference point. Use a wet sponge to remove any trace of adhesive on the tiles immediately after laying them, and rinse the sponge regularly. As you progress around the room, remove the tile spaces before the adhesive sets fully. Marking the tiles for cutting. For the tiles adjacent to the wall, place a tile squarely on top of the last glued tile in the row. Then place another tile on top, moving it to within 1 centimeter from the wall. Mark the line on the tile beneath. Straight cuts. Because of the size of the tiles, you will need an electric tile cutter rather than hand cutter. You will probably also need help pushing the tile across the machine's cutting platform, and particularly at the end of the cut to avoid breaking one of the ends. Curved cuts. Mark the cut with a soft pencil. Go over the line using the tile marker and shade in the area to be removed. If the area to be removed is large, start by cutting what you can with the tile cutter and finish off using the parrot beak tile nippers. Filling the joints. You may grout the joints 24 hours after laying the tiles. Check the surface of your tiles is clean and remove any traces of adhesive on the surface of the tiles or in the joints between them. Use a vacuum cleaner to remove any particles. Prepare the grout according to the manufacturer's instructions. Spread the grout immediately using a rubber trowel, forcing it deep into the joints between the tiles. Smooth off any surplus grout using the rubber trowel at an angle to the joints to avoid scoring the grout lines. The depth and width of the joints will dictate the amount of grout used per square meter. You should allow approximately half a kilogram of grout per square meter for tiles that are 60 by 60 centimeters. Mix enough grout for 4 or 5 square meters, as the mix does not keep very long and you run the risk of having to throw away any leftover grout. Smoothing. As soon as the grout begins to set, rub the tiles gently with dry, soft cloth in a circular motion. Use a damp sponge to smooth the grout 20 minutes later. Rinse the sponge regularly with clean water. Leave everything to set fully and then clean the surface of the tiles with dry cloths. Cleaning. Mop the floor 24 hours later using clean water, rinsing and squeezing dry the mop head regularly. If you find any patches of grout on the tiling, remove it with cement residue remover 48 hours later. You can buy this sort of product for both enameled and non-enameled tiles. Lay them carefully, and large floor tiles bring a touch of modern elegance to any room.